Next on the schedule for Manchester United is a home fixture against West Ham, who are struggling for consistency at the moment. After an impressive 2-1 comeback victory against Crystal Palace, Ruben Amorim will be looking at this fixture as a way to kickstart another unbeaten run. So, will Ruben Amorim and Manchester United get the job done and secure the 3 points on Thursday, or will West Ham give United a run for their money? Let's preview. Now, unlike the match against Crystal Palace, Manchester United are the favorites against West Ham, and it's imperative that they come out and play like favorites. Against Crystal Palace, once again, the mentality of the boys was put into question because that second half performance was miles better than what they showed us in the first half. The difference here is that Manchester United is at home and should already be aware of the fact that West Ham will come and play cautiously and sit off and allow us to have possession of the ball. As you can see here, they have no problem in sitting back, sitting off, and suffocating the box, creating absolutely no space to play around. And for United, this is a recipe for disaster because in situations like this, there are times where United really revert to just sideways passing, and I don't think this is the type of game where we want to fall into a trap like that. Now, on top of that, because Lucas Paqueta literally talked himself into a suspension, there's a real chance that Nuno Espirito Santo could revert to a back three because of the absence of one of his best players, if not his best creative midfielder, creative presence in the entire team. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the last lineup that West Ham put out without Lucas Paqueta in the starting 11 or on the substitutes bench. It was a 3-4-3. Now, if that's the case, it is so important that Manchester United win the midfield battle, but not just physically. In the last game against Crystal Palace, Adam Wharton was able to outdo Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro in the first half on just playmaking alone. And that was him playing in the exact same role that Bruno Fernandes was playing. Now, from a United point of view, it's extremely frustrating because Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro in that first half could not link up play with our forwards, and it kind of broke down our play a lot. They just were not composed on the ball. But in the second half, the more Bruno Fernandes was able to get on the ball and dictate proceedings, I feel like United played a bit better. And I say this to say that Bruno Fernandes started the game against Crystal Palace in a more advanced position, where the formation almost looked like Casemiro was on an island and Bruno Fernandes was playing higher up the pitch. In the second half, when he was able to drop back and get time on the ball, United were able to actually link up more efficiently. I noticed this, especially with Joshua Zirkzee. Not saying his link-up play was the best in the second half, but it was miles better than what he showed in the first. And I think that's because of the space that was afforded for him to drop in and receive those touches. And it gave Man United a little bit better speed of play as well, which I noticed. Now, why I think this is so important for Manchester United is because this positional fluidity can actually drag West Ham out of their rigid shape and defensive structure and create numerous advantages for players crashing into the box or players who are making late runs at the edge of the box. Let's use West Ham's last game as a quick example, Isak's goal to be exact. Now, this is coming off of a throw-in, but as Wirtz picks up the ball here and sees nothing but a claret-colored wall, it's actually amazing to me how Liverpool were able to score from here. Because Wirtz is that playmaking maestro that Liverpool want on the ball, they want him to be able to create something from nothing. Him playing this ball into the space is no surprise. What gets me is that as Maguire gets drawn out to Gakpo, the West Ham defense are just left ball watching. They're so much more concerned with what is actually going to happen with Gakpo in that 1v1 that Alexander Isak gets left on an island, and I don't care what type of form he's in. I don't care if he hasn't scored in the last 20 shots he's taken. There is no reason for someone of his quality to be given this much space inside of the penalty area. Okay, but what about an example of when West Ham actually played in a 3-4-3 against Bournemouth a couple match weeks ago? Now, this example I'm about to show you is extremely reliant on Joshua Zirkzee, for example, in this position. Being able to hold up play better. He has to be stronger in his hold up. I know people are saying that he's more of a technical player. His game does not revolve around hold up. But look, the dude is 6'4". He's a massive presence. He has to be stronger. Against Crystal Palace, Maxence Lacroix was able to honestly bully him in the first half. This cannot happen, especially against a West Ham team who have Todibo, who have Kilman, Mavropanos. They have big physical presence. We cannot get bullied off the ball because if we do and Zirkzee is not able to link up play, it's going to be another frustrating watch where we see just sluggish build-up patterns. Now, this example I want to show you starts with Evan Nilsson receiving the ball on the halfway line with his back to goal. And here is Todibo, one of West Ham's back three, who has stepped up to engage him. And this is why I say Zirkzee has to be strong in his hold-up, has to be strong and quick in his decision-making. Because here Evan Nilsson is clever and he lays the ball off to Christie, his advanced playmaker. And he, in this situation, once again, I can equate to Bruno Fernandes. Having the vision and range to play a first-time ball into Tavernier, who's running into space. And because his head is up, he can play a lovely first-time ball into somebody who's crashing into the box. And I think it's Eli Krupi who's crashing into the box. This is a dangerous ball. These are positions that we can find ourselves in, especially if Xerxes is attracting one of the center backs out, and we can have Mbumo cut in to become that false striker, and Amad Diallo can shift over to become that winger. These are the advantages that we can create. And honestly, I don't know how this didn't end up as a goal for Bournemouth. I think we need to be clinical as well in any situation or chance that we create. But it's just another way for us to combat playing against a team who is more than likely to just sit off and let us have the ball. Either way, whatever setup that Nuno Espirito Santo runs with, I think for Man United on the defensive side of things, it's imperative that we watch their wingbacks, whether it's El Hadji Diouf or it's Wan-Bissaka or it's Kyle Walker-Peters. They're going to be looking to bomb up the pitch and get crosses into the box. And we need to be very, very, very wary of the physical presence of them playing long and direct. Now, this finally leads me to the starting 11 and who I think Ruben Amorim should go with. I'm just going to put it up now, and there might be a few that shock you, but let me know in the comments down below who you think should start this match. For me, it's a no-brainer. Sané Lammens in goal, Matthias de Ligt and Luke Shaw, I think, should retain their spot. So something I actually forgot to mention that I wanted to is the fact that Lisandro Martinez, I don't think he's ready to start yet. I do think he's going to get more minutes off the bench as he returns to full fitness, and that will see Luke Shaw and him swap on a more regular basis. I think in this game we will see Lisandro Martinez at some point. I just think Luke Shaw is going to start the game. Now, Leny Yoro is an interesting one. Obviously, we saw those pictures after he got substituted against Crystal Palace where he looked devastated. And I think it's honestly okay for him to go through an experience like this. He's a young and upcoming center back with loads of potential. It's better to go through this now and to learn and to build upon what he's already done, which is great things at United, and build upon it. I think in a game like this, though, we need security. And I think in order to try and eliminate a little bit of hesitancy, Mazraoui should come in and fill that right center back role. I thought when he came in against Crystal Palace, he was solid. He did exactly what he needed to do. I think in a game like this, we can start with Mazraoui and bring Leny Yoro on. I just feel like if we start him again, there's that potential where we could start to see, a little bit of fragility. And I think in a situation like this, he's a young, talented center back. Let's protect him a little bit. Now, moving forward, obviously, I think Dalot and Amad Diallo should keep their spot. I don't see any reason to change it. I thought Dalot was pretty solid against Crystal Palace, and Amad Diallo is very, very dangerous on the right-hand side. Obviously, Dorgu could have a shout in there, but I think Dorgu is in the same position where he's just a little still too raw. And I think we need to protect him a little bit, give him game time where it's appropriate, show him that, you have to play up to a certain standard in order to play for United and to start week in, week out. And this shows that we do need depth. We need better depth in our squad. But for right now, before the January window rolls around, this is what we got. I think we go with Dalot and Amad Diallo. Now, that moves me into the midfield. And I struggled with this one a little bit because I think this is the perfect game for Kobbie Mainoo to come and showcase and express who he is. I think in a game like this where West Ham will sit low and play in a deep block and honestly sit off, and the more the game goes on, we'll probably drop off more and more. Having him being able to drive with the ball through the center of the midfield could be key in a game like this. But Casemiro is just, that solid option that, Ruben Amorim likes experience. And it's more than likely he would go for Bruno and Casemiro, but I'm going to go for something different. I think it's time that we see Bruno and Kobbie. I think that's going to give a different dimension to our game. It's going to give us the option also to be able to drive with the ball through the center, because Casemiro is never going to do that. I think Kobbie Mainoo has the better composure on the ball. He has the better feet, the better agility. He can take his man on, but also be a creative outlet. So I think it's time for Ruben Amorim to give him a go alongside Bruno Fernandes. Because if Bruno Fernandes is playing in a deeper role to try and dictate play, then we can use Kobbie Mainoo as one of those players to drag West Ham out of possession, I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below on that one, though. Now, for my front three, I think Mbomo will obviously retain his place. Now, the remaining two spots are tricky because obviously Matheus Cunha is coming back in. If he's fit and ready to go, which I believe he will be, then there's no reason for him not to start. So that means either Xerxes or Mount will have to get the drop. I think based off of the type of game that we can encounter, I think Xerxes makes more sense to start just because he has that physical presence. He has to be strong, and prove that he can be a top striker at United. And I think this next few run of games will prove that. If he can live up to the expectation, if he can improve on his performance from Crystal Palace, I think he can honestly give Ruben Amorim a selection headache. So I'm going to go with Zirkzee. But I think in this game, if Cunha is fit, which I think he will be, he has to be the one that starts on the left-hand side, because he's going to be able to be the ultimate distraction and nuisance. And I think that's going to be something that we need. Just Cunha's ability to drop anywhere on the pitch into the pocket, or to run into space, or to take the ball and drive through defenders. We've missed that, and we need that. We need that unpredictability in our attack, because there are times where we can become predictable and stale. And in a game like this against West Ham, who don't have their best creative outlet, they're gonna want to be compact and fight for what they've got. So I think in a game like this, we need to throw the kitchen sink. Obviously, be defensively responsible, but this is the lineup that I think will get the job done against West Ham. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is a game that is very winnable for United. They have to be careful, obviously. I think Nuno is gonna go for a more direct approach. And probably start with Nicholas Füllkrug up top to just be a nuisance, to be an annoying threat. If he does his homework well, he'll see that United center backs don't do too well when teams are just playing super direct. So we need to be wary of that. But I do think this team is technically miles better than West Ham. They have what it takes, even physically, to outlast West Ham. And because West Ham are in a shaky moment, a shaky period, we need to capitalize and continue to climb up the table. I think this is the perfect atmosphere and the perfect game for Ruben Amorim and his side to really show something different, to go a full 90 minutes of intense pressure. And I'm not saying that we have to absolutely blow West Ham out of the park, but I want to see a convincing performance, something more of the second half that we saw against Crystal Palace, where the players were winning their duels, they were winning the second balls, they were getting their 50-50s. This is what I want to see just throughout this game. We're at Old Trafford. The fans are coming out to support. We have to play better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always. Talk to you guys soon. God bless. Have a good one.